What's up, guys? It's me, KiNGAlpha. Hope everybody's doing great. So, guys, I got a campaign that I've played fully through, and I've conquered all of Calradia, owning all of the towns and cities. Not only just me, obviously all my other factions and things like that I've controlled. But I figured, why not make a video on the more or less richest towns in Calradia? Now, please, 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 I know people are going to comment and say, oh, but this doesn't work for every campaign. Da, 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 da. I understand that, but in most of my campaigns, whenever I conquer these cities and I take them for myself, I usually can get them to be very prosperous, and they can have one of the highest prosperities in Calradia by themselves. And usually they are very prosperous before I take them, and then when I do take them, I make them more prosperous. So, anyways, let's get into it. Now, what makes a city prosperous is usually, obviously, no raiding around the villages or anything like that. War and all that type of things can be a big thing that kind of hurts your prosperity in terms of the city. But one of the big things that really help prosperity for a city is food surplus. Food is one of the biggest things for a city, that when the food stocks are full, the prosperity of that city will obviously go up. Again, please take in mind, if there's any wars, or if people or your towns or your village is getting raided, or you're at war with everyone, trade's gonna stop, etc. So your prosperity will go down. Additionally, there is other things that can hurt your prosperity in terms of bound village issues, settlement issues, as you can see when you're hovering over prosperity, housing costs, all that other stuff that really, really can hurt your prosperity as well. On top of that, especially if you have like low loyalty as well, risk of rebellion, all that type of stuff is a big thing. One other thing as well is, like, also, like, for example, there's a nearby hideout. So sometimes if there's a nearby hideout, that means that there's bandits. So when there's people coming in to try and sell things, the nearby hideout can actually, kill the people holding your village, like from your village or whatever. So your prosperity can go down that way. So it's more or less keeping everything around the city as, you know, peaceful as possible, more or less. But owning all of Calradia, and me not having any real mod that is like changing anything, I don't have a mod right now. Well, I do have a mod that's a companion mod, but I don't use my companions for governing. I use them for fighting. And then the same goes for in terms of my improved garrison mod. You can even add food on there and all that type of stuff. But I'm trying to make a video about the fact that, like, this is for PC and consoles, on what's the most richest towns in Calradia. So let's pull up I'm going to show you guys how to do it. You kind of pull up the encyclopedia. This is obviously if you own all the towns. You can't do this if you don't, if you're not near the town and actually have vision of the town and stuff. But since it's my kingdom and everybody owns everything, I can see all the prosperity from every town, etc. So if you are curious, what you do is you can go to settlements, and then you can click town or castle, and you kind of see what's the most prosperous things. You just obviously put it by that. So we're going to do the towns. Now, in most of my campaigns, these cities, even if they're owned usually by other factions or anything like that, like for example, Dunglass, a very prosperous city, that even if Landia comes and takes it, it can be very prosperous, even if it's like rebellious and all that type of stuff. The prosperity of cities also determines whether, someone comes in and pillages, or someone comes in and basically like raises the city, makes it go down. So obviously this can hurt, because for example, Marinef right now is at 9,621 prosperity, whereas usually I've seen the prosperity of Marinef even be higher than this in some of my campaigns. But since Marinef was pillaged a couple of times from Azurai and all that type of stuff, the price, the amount of what it was can go really, really down. For example, a really good city that is, I think, in the beginning is probably still the most prosperous city throughout the whole thing, as long as no one takes their city, is Sanala. Sanala from Azurai, I've seen it before I took it myself. It was actually almost, I would think it was like 13.5k prosperity before I went and took it myself. And that's huge. Do you know what I mean? Because if the prosperity is huge on a town, the prosperity, once, if you can grab that town, put a good governor in terms of Azurai, obviously you want to keep a governor that keeps the culture, due to the fact that, like, if I'm, for example, Sturgian, I take an Azurai city, the loyalty will go down like it is right now. It's at 0.07 going down. And as you can see, the prosperity is also going down minus 7.3 due to the fact that my food stocks is -10. However, if I go to Sanala and actually put all my food in there, the prosperity will go up, and you'll see that eventually it'll just shift within a day. You do want to always keep your cities highly stocked up in food. You really want to try and obviously keep other people away, like any freaking rogues or whatever. So the most prosperous cities that I've seen for the most part: Dunglass, Sanala, Prevand, Marinif, Askar, Sion. The only reason I'm not going to really put Revel in this is because of the fact that I own Revel. Most of the time I don't see Revel. Revel's prosperity can go up, but most of the time Revel's prosperity is not that high. It's mainly on me. Rote, I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, but whatever. I'm going to call it Emmett. Emmett is a very prosperous city. Before I took this city, the prosperity of this city was actually like 9k, and then I took the city, and then it kept getting pillaged. Like the villages kept getting pillaged around it, so the prosperity really dipped due to food and all that type of stuff. And same with Zionica. Zionica as well is a very prosperous city. It was, I think, about like at 10k as well prosperity, and then I took it, and then it's even currently being pillaged right now, so it's not that prosperous. As you guys can see, basically 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and basically 10. These cities are one of the most prosperous, richest towns in Colradia. You can even go to them in the beginning of the game, and you'll see that the prosperity of those towns go up super fast. Same with Sion. Even though it's not that good right now, it was pillaged a lot, but it still has a very high prosperity. But I would say, funny enough, Britannia has probably some of the richest land you can actually go and grab. So if you're, for example, Sturgia, and you want to go and take out Britannia, Britannia has rich lands that if you were able to claim that town for yourself, you'd be able to make a very prosperous, money exchange. Have it where you can make money early. Especially sometimes those cities rebel, and you can go and take that city yourself, and you can easily start a kingdom pretty early. But just do keep in mind, again, if those villages are getting raided, if you're constantly at war with the people around, your prosperity is going to go down, unless you're just devastating everybody and beating them all back. Dunglass, I even made a video in terms of workshops. Dunglass, Marinif, and Sion and Prevand were all able to make me an insane amount of money off of workshops when putting a wine press there. Again, I think it's one of those things where, like, a lot of the cities that has a wine press usually has amazing prosperity. Not every city, but most cities. For example, Zionica would be a lot higher if I actually went and stopped all of the raids that continue to happen on this city as well. And in terms of the fact that if I even put a better governor there, I can even make even more money, because of the fact that obviously governors really help out in terms of prosperity, security, etc. Regardless, guys, I just wanted to really show you guys some of the top cities after a whole completed campaign with no extra, like, help to economy or anything like that. I really don't have any kingdom policies that are crazy in terms of like trying to provide even my faction with more money or anything like that. There's like bailiff for town security, so that's even bringing the taxes down. But there's a lot of other stuff here that most likely I could do that could bring up the prosperity of a town, for example. However, I don't have them. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this, because I've made that workshop video before, and I'll put it up in the link above. But for the most part, these towns all end up usually the most prosperous, even in by mid-game. If you go in mid-game to your game and you go to these cities, check them out, because usually the most prosperous towns, and if you even put a nice workshop in there, you can make insane money. Especially if you own workshops in that town that's very prosperous, you can actually make the town even more prosperous, because you're increasing the workshop value, you're increasing the market value. It helps you make that money on Bannerlord. So Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any towns in your campaigns that are like way more prosperous, that aren't more or less in this top 10, please let me know, because there is sometimes there is some villages, like towns, for example Cars Bennett sometimes can be very rich, but it's hit or miss. Revel, actually, again, it can be prosperous as well. It just really depends on the trade. Same with Revolt and Amor. Amor can be very prosperous actually with linen and all that type of stuff. So please let me know in the comments down below whether you guys have certain towns that are prosperous, and in your campaign that isn't actually in this top 10 list, more or less, of the most prosperous towns in Calradia. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, and thank you guys so much for watching the video.